Hello and welcome to a new video. Today we'll be talking about how to learn marketing faster by creating a learning plan. There are so many resources and content out there on marketing. You might find yourself asking, but where do I even begin? How do I not overwhelm myself? How do I create a roadmap, and what should the timeline look like? The articles and videos listing the resources that you should be following to learn marketing are very useful. I get it. I have a lot of videos like that as well, where I talk about YouTube channels that are great if you want to learn marketing, where I talk about podcasts or free resources or online certification programs that you can go ahead and follow and use. They are really useful, and I will leave some links in the description box for you to check out, but they are helpful to an extent. But when you have no idea where to begin and you come across this list that talks about 25 resources to learn marketing, and each of them have thousands of content in itself, you can't consume all of that. That's not realistic. There's no way you can consume that, and it just simply adds to your confusion. Which is why this one email from a subscriber inspired me to make this video and think about how to create a learning plan, how to create marketing faster by beating that confusion and overwhelm. She has a brilliant question that I think a lot of people can resonate with. So here's what she says. I'm a person who really loves marketing and has been in the process of enhancing my knowledge and skills in it as I want to pursue a career in this field. Your videos have helped me a lot in the process, but the confusion I'm facing now is that I have enough resources in my bag that would help me enhance my skills and knowledge regarding marketing thanks to your videos, but I don't know how to organize it or from where should I start. I really want to make the most out of it. There are lots of online courses I want to do, content I want to read and learn, and the list goes on. I thought I would go slowly at my own pace, but I really would love to hear your advice on this. So you may be like this subscriber who wants to pursue a career in the field, but you're feeling very confused. Maybe you're switching careers and you don't know where to begin, or maybe you have your own business and you want to know more about marketing so that you can promote your business better, you can do better marketing for your own business. Doesn't matter what the context is, you just don't know what you don't know. And when you have so many resources at hand, whether that is YouTube channels, podcasts, blogs, websites to follow, social media channels to follow, it's just confusing. And this is just a reminder that you're not alone, and hopefully the learning plan that I'll share right now will calm your mind and give you a better direction to do this right. So here's how I would approach a learning plan. And again, I want to repeat this. The context can differ, whether your goal is to pursue a career in marketing, whether that is to run your own freelance business. Maybe you already have a job, but you're learning as you go, and that is totally normal as well. And you may still need a learning plan. So here are my 6 steps. Number 1 thing is to assess and visualize. So first thing first, you have to assess where you currently stand, how much you currently know, what your goal is, where you want to be, how do you visualize yourself, what's your vision, what's your goal for yourself, and again, to kind of put that in relation to how much you currently know. What are the objectives and goals of learning marketing? Like, what do you exactly want to achieve when you learn more about marketing? Is it to get a job? Is it to do better marketing for your business? Is it to get a promotion? Whatever it is. Or maybe you're just interested and you want to see if this field is for you. That could also be your context. So identify what exactly your goal is with learning marketing, and that is going to help you see how much of a knowledge gap that you have between where you stand currently and where you want to be. So essentially, use your why and interest as a starting point to guide you to the resources that you will need in your learning. And when you're doing this exercise, I suggest you to be as specific as you can. So if you have a particular interest for an industry, so whether that is, I don't know, sustainable clothing, whether that is sports shoes, whether that is hockey, whatever is of particular interest to you in terms of an industry, make note of that. And on top of that, what exactly are the fields within marketing that could be of interest to you? This is the case if you already have a little bit of knowledge and you already maybe know which branch of marketing that you are considering to specialize in, or that you know that could be interesting to you. And if you feel you need more information about specializations in marketing, different paths in marketing, I do have a couple of videos that I think would be really helpful. Again, I'll leave some links in the description for you to check them out, but be specific with your goals, assess where you currently stand, how much you know, and how much you need to know to achieve your goal. So this is going to help you find out about your knowledge gap, and this is going to help you be more strategic with your learning plan and your time. Okay, now that you have a bigger picture of your goals and your knowledge gap, next up is actually designing your marketing learning plan where you identify the skills. So you kind of zoom in on the skills that you need to know. Here are a couple of questions to ask yourself as a starting point. So now that you know the knowledge gap, if you have zero idea about the paths in marketing, for example, that's where you're likely going to start off your education in marketing. So you need to know about the different paths in marketing, the different industries, different work environments, and so on. Or if you're more advanced than that and you're actually looking at some hard skills that you need to develop, whether that is, let's say, video content creation, whether that is Facebook ads specifically, whether that is learning WordPress or learning Hootsuite or learning Marketo, whatever it may be, identify the specific skills that it seems like you are missing out on. Identify the specific skills that are going to get you moving towards your goal. I also want you to ask yourself, what do I already know? And sit down and actually write a list of the things that seem relevant to marketing, all the skills that you currently possess about marketing. What exactly do you know? Are you familiar with the terminology? Maybe you've already completed a degree in marketing. Maybe you're just lacking the experience of doing a certain task or working in a certain environment or working with a team. Okay, now let's bring in a couple of examples in the picture so this is more tangible, because at this point you might be thinking, Elif, I'm here because I don't know where to begin, and now I'm telling you to do the learning plan and assess your skills. But okay, you have to go very basic, right? If you ever did a degree, for example, so let's say that you already completed a marketing degree or marketing certificate and you learned about certain things. Let's say you did a 6-week program about content marketing. You learn the basics of how to write a blog. You learn the basics of doing a content calendar, how to create a marketing campaign. So write all of those things down because you already have some knowledge on them, and maybe even score the level of knowledge that you feel you have around those topics. So you might say, I don't know, you already know about how to write a blog, but you have never written a blog for yourself. So maybe give it a 3, a 4, a 5, whatever. And when you start to practice, when you create your own blog and actually assess your skill and knowledge about whether or not you can put your learnings into practice, then give yourself another score for it. Let's do a second example. Say that you're an artist and you just launched an e-commerce shop, but you need to know about paid ads and you want to use Facebook and Instagram, right? They're connected. Anyway, you want to learn how to use that, but you have zero idea about how to do ads, how to create a budget, how to create audiences for Facebook advertising. So do you have Facebook? Yes. Do you have a company page? Yes. Do you have Facebook Business Manager? No. Okay, you need to learn about Facebook Business Manager. Do you know that Facebook ads work together with Instagram ads? No. Okay, so maybe that's the level of knowledge that you have, and that tells you how much of a gap you have to close so that you're actually able to create an audience, to give a budget, and actually start running ads for your e-commerce shop. Or let's give a third example, which I think is going to be more common than the other ones, and that is, if you want to pursue a career in marketing and you have this ideal role in mind, or there is a company that you really aspire to work in and they have, let's say, I don't know, a digital marketing specialist role open already, take a look at that job description and put it in front of you, print it out, highlight, take notes, and look at the specific skills that they are asking for someone that is going to be working in that role. So look at the terminology first. Do you know about those concepts? Are you familiar with them? Maybe it's talking about content creation, but you have no idea. Okay, so that gives you an idea of where to begin. Or maybe you're already familiar with the concepts that the job description covers, but you realize that you're not familiar with the technology that this company is particularly using. So let's say they mention Yoast, WordPress, Later, Contentful, and MailerLite. Then put the names of those tools on your learning plan, because it means that you either need to get experience with them just by trying out those tools, or you need to take maybe certifications or a course to bring your knowledge up to speed about how to use them. Again, maybe while you're looking at that job description, you realize that it talks about buyer personas and being able to identify buyer personas or stepping into the shoes of the buyer personas. This is very common. So if you feel that you don't know enough about how to understand the buyer persona, work with buyer personas, there are tons of resources that can get you up to speed with buyer personas. When you're looking at it in this format, you're able to make a list for yourself of the skills that you specifically need to focus in on to get a job at this level within this company or another one. All right, now that you know about your knowledge gap and you know the exact skills that you want to work on, next up is choosing the best resources for your learning. Here I want you to think about two things mainly. One is, how do I learn best and what resources are the most relevant for me? And number two is, there's an abundance of resources, no shortage on that, but I want you to ask which resources are the most credible and how do I filter them? For the first question, what you need to think about is, how do you learn best? Some people learn better when they're reading, doing individual work, self-studying. Some people learn with video, some with audio, some within a team. So think about what environments help to speed up your learning and which type of person. Do you enjoy videos more? Do you enjoy audio more? Kind of identify the formats of content that you want to consume. That's going to help you filter out a lot of things. If you don't know how you learn best, but you're interested in learning more, I'm going to leave a link in the description. Again, there's going to be so many links, but that can help you to find out about your learning styles. And next up is the question of, how do I find the resources that are the most credible? How do I filter them, basically? This is a tough one because there's so many resources and some rank really well on search engines like Google or YouTube, but I don't necessarily find that the top ranking content is always the best content. So you need to be very selective with which resources you select to learn from. I know that my channel is really helpful for a lot of people because they like the way I explain things, they like the way I simplify some concepts, and they learn well through my content. But then others might find this other person that has a totally different style than mine and totally different approach than mine better for their learning. So I guess that is more for you to find out. Obviously, one thing you can do is, if you already follow some thought leaders in that industry and they regularly share the resources that they feed on that they find really helpful and they suggest, you can go ahead and start there. That can be a starting point for you. Something I want to add here is that you may feel that you already know a lot of things. You have studied it, you know about the concepts, you can talk about it, but you have actually never implemented it. So some people learn better by doing. I feel that I'm actually one of them. And if that's your case as well, just try it out. Just experiment. Maybe you studied enough about blog writing and you read so many posts about how to write a blog, but you never wrote a blog yourself. Then that's the missing link. That's the missing thing that you need to do. And you might just find out that once you have your own blog and you start writing and start practicing, you're going to get better at it. So consider that as well. And don't think that this learning by doing has to be a complicated process. You can help out a friend, a family member, a neighbor with their own business, run your own social media channel, pursue a passion project. Doesn't matter what it is. And if you don't have any idea where to begin, I actually made a video recently where I shared 5 projects that you can do with no experience. The link will be in the description for that as well. And let's move on to the next one, which is grouping your learning areas. So now that you've made this list for yourself, you need to just put things into categories so that you have a better plan and you kind of focus in one category at a time, and you don't find yourself learning about a technology one day and then something very unrelated the next day. You want to ideally group things out so that it's just easier. You focus in on one thing, you kind of build that skill, you feel comfortable about it, and then move on to the next one. Next step is prioritizing, and yes, as usual, prioritizing is always a piece of any learning plan. What you need to do is look at your list of skills and prioritize them in order of their importance in relation to your goal. This is kind of like the idea where there could be a lot of things that you want to learn, but there's a less number of things that you absolutely must learn to achieve your goal. And those ones could be the most boring or the most challenging ones for you, but you need to tackle them first because they are more important in relation to achieving your goal. This step is here basically to create a focus and not let you get distracted with all the resources, with all the list of things that you want to learn. You need to put the ones that are essential at the top of your list, at the top of your learning plan, and start working on those first and then get down to your list. I mean, at this point in my career, like 10 years into it, there's still tons of things I want to learn about marketing, but then there are some certain things that I must absolutely know and do right now because they are important for my business, and those are the ones that I would focus on right now. And the final step to your learning plan is setting timelines and deadlines. So if you identify that you need to take a course, if you need to do a degree, whatever it is, a certification, there are timelines that are attached to those programs, right? So if you're going to take a HubSpot certification, for example, that takes you 4 weeks or a certain number of hours, figure out how many weeks or how many days you need to complete that certification. Or if you're going to do an online course with someone that is going to take you 3 months, identify when you can start and by when it will be finished. So this is going to give you a roadmap and a timeline of when to start things, when you wrap that up, and when you can move to the next skill that you want to learn. Something else about the timeline, as well as the actual time allocated to things. I want you to think about how much time you can allocate to learning per day, per week, or maybe you're going to give yourself a whole year for the learning. I want you to figure out how much learning time you're going to allocate for this plan that you now have. For me, for example, I always allocate a certain number of hours of my week to learning, and whether that is something new that I want to learn or whether that is something that I need more practice in. And it doesn't always have to be only about learning marketing. It can be about, I don't know, doing better networking, doing better outreach, anything. It can also be a passion, a hobby, whatever. How much time can you allocate realistically per day, per week, per month, per year? I want you to write down in your learning plan how much time you're giving to each skill, how much time you estimate to learn that skill, and how much time you're going to invest during a given length of time. All right, now that's a wrap. Hopefully this video was helpful and it gave you more clarity on how to approach learning marketing faster and with a roadmap. If you took anything from this video, be sure to give it a like, and if you're new here, please make sure to subscribe for more videos like this one. There's a new video every single week and I'd love to see you here. Until then, take care guys. Bye bye.